Today I thought I would take you through what it's going to look like to get my last market set up. So if you are new here, I have been doing little markets in our downtown area for the last 2 months, and this is the last and final month, and we are 1 week out as I'm making this video, and so I thought I would share with you how I am preparing for it and what I do to get my plants ready. And as you can see, there is a lot going on, so need to repot some, need to just check some out, make sure that they're still good in good condition and they don't need to be repotted or uppotted, and see what new plants I have that I've been propagating to bring with me. I also need to make soil, but I don't think I'm going to do that in this video, and I need to do some punch needle stuff because I also have an Etsy shop with punch needle items, and I got an order and I need to do that. So this is a lot, but I do take my punch needles with me to the market as well, and I did sell a couple the last market, and I don't take many, so I probably should do like a few more just to be prepared. I like to have a variety of items, not just plants, like obvious taking care of plants. So that's what we're going to do today. If you're new to this channel and you've not yet subscribed, make sure to subscribe. That way you can be up to date on all of my latest videos. And if you are a recurring viewer, thank you so much for coming back and watching another video. We're going to start out with a few things here. So number one, this is a Monstera Esqueleto that I cut off from my mother plant. So this giant leaf here, and it has pushed out a new baby right here. Looks perfect. The root system looks really great. I am going to actually chop this big mama leaf off because it's now unnecessary. Now that it has the new growth and its leaf is looking good and unfurled, all of the roots are actually coming out of that new leaf area. So by chopping this, I'm not going to damage the root system or the plant, but it's got to go. Like, it's massive, and it looks not like, it doesn't actually look, it's not the worst. There are worse leaves on my Esqueleto, but this is not the greatest looking. So I'm going to chop that off. And then I have another Esqueleto from that same mother plant. It was actually a node cutting, or like not a node cutting, basically a node cutting, a wet stick propagation that I did. And it has finally produced a leaf with little tiny fenestrations. You can see that, just a very few of them, but it's got two leaves now. I'm hoping that once this takes off, which I've seen it because I have 2 other Esqueletos that I've already sold. Once it actually started producing the fenestrations, every leaf after that had fenestrations. So these first 2 new leaves did not have anything, but it needs to be repotted. It has roots growing out of the bottom and needs to be potted up now. Then I have a ton of propagations that are fully rooted I need to look through. And I have this sad little, this is a philodendron painted lady, and it looks really sad. It needs to be potted up. I just took a propagation of it from my mother plant, and it grew to this. And so it's growing. It's just really tiny and sad. And to be fairly honest, I might end up just putting it in the sale because I don't want it anymore. I don't know. Painted ladies, they're really beautiful, and I really liked them at first, but it's not my thing. It is a little bit difficult to care for, I would say. I might end up just taking these leaves off because they're all dying because I have not repotted it, and it's literally just been yellowing off. So to be fairly honest, I'm probably just going to stick it in water, take it out of the soil that it's in, and call it a day, and then wait for it to grow more. Then we got the cap, and then I have this. This is a Parisa Verde. I cut all of my cuttings that I have for like available for sale from this plant, and it's kind of ridiculous to have it now. I chopped it all the way back, and this is what's grown from it. So really well, it came back. However, it's just this, and I find no point to that. So I'm going to take this out of the soil and just pot it up into something else and let it grow, and then maybe come fall, if I ever get to do a market again, I'll have it prepared and ready to go, and it'll be bigger and prettier because I'll set it in my greenhouse shelving unit. Then I also, this is just personal, actually I have 3 personal repots. This is my variegated philodendron heartleaf philodendron, and it's really beautiful. I had been looking for this plant for quite some time, and I found one, and I really love it, and it's grown so much and so fast and just very well. I do keep this directly under a grow light because I think if you want the variegation to stay, it needs to have highlight. Otherwise, I believe it would just revert to a green, all green plant. But it's doing really well, and the variegation on it is very beautiful. But it is already growing out of this pot. I just did a repot video on this probably 2 months ago. So it has grown very quickly. And then this guy, this beautiful guy, this is one of my favorite plants, and I've chopped it back so many times, and it just keeps growing. I just chopped it back recently again and propagated them. And it's already just shooting out new growth, and it needs to be repotted. I've had this for 1.5 years, I believe, and it's got roots coming out of the bottom. I'm watering it what feels like every other day. It needs to be potted up. Then I also have this philodendron Rio, which just really not enjoying it. So I'm going to take the plant out. It's like 3 plants in one, and sell it because I'm over it. I don't enjoy the growth pattern of this. I really love the philodendron Brazil. So this is one variegation way of the just heteroecium or cordatum. I'm not sure, philodendron. It's just the regular heartleaf. This is another way. And then they have the Brazil, and then they have this, the Gabby, you know, all those. I was trying to look for another one. The neon is the same heartleaf. It's just a variety of, you know, variegations and colors. So super easy plant to care for otherwise, but for some reason this Rio just really does not like me. And so I'm kind of over it. I have propagated it and chopped it back a ton because again, I was just kind of sick of seeing how it was growing. And yeah, I'm just kind of done with it being on a shelf, filling nothing that I need. So yeah, I'm going to just pot it up into individual pots. I already was selling it at the market and selling it for dirt cheap because, I mean, all of my plants at the market, I'm not here like charging a ton for this. Like I do it for fun, and it is really fun, and I really enjoy, you know, talking to people about plants. But these plants are pretty expensive. I actually found this, the mother plant, which was in a 4-inch pot. It was a lot smaller. It was like a single vine for $8. Now, I just saw this recently. I'm going to say for $30 in a 4-inch pot, which I don't know. I guess with shipping costs and everything, it probably makes sense. But I'm just kind of over it, and I just want to get rid of it. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes. That one is getting split. Then I have another one that's just like, talked about this in another video. The Florida Ghost, the philodendron Florida Ghost. I've had this for 1 year now, and this is what it's been. Immediately when I got it, I repotted it because the roots were coming out the bottom. I think it needs to be repotted again because I am watering it a lot more often lately, but it is just green. Like there's no white. It is like a, it's a lighter shade of green. I do have a Florida Beauty. So yes, compared to that, or not a beauty, I'm sorry, just a Florida green. So compared to that, yeah, it's definitely lighter and it's more minty white, but otherwise it's just not growing really well at all. And I don't know what to do about it. So I'm going to try to repot it, pot it into a larger pot and see if it takes off. And if that was just, it was just being root bound, but just kind of a interesting, weird plant that I don't think I would ever get again. And then I have this variegated string of hearts from my mother plant. I recently, or not recently, it's been months now, just kind of redid my whole string of hearts because it was not growing well, and I split it. And this part was the most variegated part with the most white, and it's not really survived, which is not surprising. But I think I want to put it in this little terrarium. So if you saw my video on the string of hearts, I had this string of hearts, or sorry, string of turtles growing in this little popcorn candy dish holder. And I took them out, and hilariously, I took it all out. I mean, if you didn't see the video, the string of turtles was up to here on all of the sides and just totally overtook it. I had planted other plants in this and I could not remember what it was. And I figured it out. One of it's a Maranta and it's starting to grow back, which is so funny that it took that long. Like it waited, it lived underneath the turtles for that long, for like a year or more. And it's now coming back. It's just a green Maranta. But it decided like, hey, I now have time to grow and room to grow, so I'm going to grow. And that's so funny. And it's like just interesting that it was that hardy to survive at all and grow back, and the leaf looks perfect. So I'll let it continue growing, but I think I'm going to pot this guy up in there, just stick it in the sphagnum moss and let it grow. Okay, we're going to start with the easiest thing to do first probably, which is just put the string of hearts in here. So this again is my variegated string of hearts. I've had it for about 3 years and it has, like, look at that. Look at those tubers. They're massive. I don't know if you're going to see them on here, but because I'm quite far away. They're very large and healthy, but the rest of it, and it's got a tuber up top too. So, but the rest of it is just dead and dying off. So I'm just going to stick it in here. String of hearts, in my personal opinion, likes a lot of humidity, and I've always found that it grows well if I give it that. So we're going to just stick it down in here and let it take root and see if it does better. Now I do stick this entire thing underneath my Barina grow lights in my bedroom. So I will just keep that over here for now, but it's done. Now, the next thing that's easy is taking either this, let's just do this one. This is the Painted Lady that I'm just taking out, and ooh, it's very crunchy soil because I forget to water it often. So its root system is very dry, and I will wash it off and then stick it in water, and I just want to see how it does. It's not doing so hot right now. So I'll stick that right there. Next is my Monstera esqueletos. Let's pot this guy up. It's in a 2-inch pot and its roots are really good. Like you can see all of that white. Looks really nice, and we're going to stick it in a 4-inch pot. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick it in this pot and then pot it up. I am using my Good Soil Mix, which is available for purchase on my Etsy shop. So that one is done. Next, I'm going to chop this mother leaf off of the esqueleto and then pot it up. And I probably will pot it up in a 4-inch pot. I'll show you the roots. Like the roots are really good. So I'm just going to chop down here if I can. So there's the leaf. Nothing's going to grow back from that. If anybody tries to sell you a leaf like this with no node, don't buy it. It won't grow. But this guy will. And so you can see the roots right there. Oh, got perlite in my eye. Bummer. Look really well, like established. It's got multiple root points. So we're going to stick this down into soil in a 4-inch pot. It looks so good, and it has one little aerial root already growing. So we'll stick that guy there. Okay, next we're going to do this big guy because this will be easy. I'll take this water and I'll stick my Painted Lady in it for now. There you go. Rehydrate those roots. So this is the Paraiso Verde right here as I choke on perlite right there, and we're going to just remove it, which I just watered this, and that's when I decided like it needs to go into something else. Oh, but it's actually really well established. So it might need to go into, woof, goodness, this guy is, really well rooted. Okay. So that might not be a good idea. Might just need to stick it in this. Okay, bye. Okay, so that one's really well rooted. Extremely well rooted. So I'm just going to stick it in a plastic pot because I wanted the terracotta pot too. That's why I was also trying to swap it out for a smaller pot, but really well established. Not going to go anywhere from that. Definitely not going to chop the roots off or do anything like that. I'll just leave it, let it sit there. That was interesting. I was not expecting, I guess, to see it that full. But anyways, we're gonna now pot up my heartleaf philodendron, and this is really well rooted. And it's coming through the bottom, so I'm gonna have to wiggle it out. So again, this is very well rooted. You can see all of those roots and all along the bottom. So very happy with that and how it's growing, and excited to just see it continue to grow. Again, this is a personal plant. So right now I'm just doing a lot of personal things, not so much for the show. Well, I did pot those two up. Okay, so that's that guy. I'm going to need to find a new cover pot. Majority of my plants are in like these plastic nursery pots, and then I just stick them into cover pots. I don't know why, I just do. So that's there. Now moving on to this guy, which I was actually going to use this pot for him. And now that that guy is taken, maybe I should just pot, okay, sorry, okay, I will pot this guy up. Instead of putting him in the small pot, I'll pot him up. I'll give him a new home. Let's let him grow, I guess. And then I'm going to take this pot, which I originally planned for this guy. So there's his roots. Like, it's established, but not as established as like the heartleaf by any means. But we're gonna go ahead and pot him up. Okay, there's my Florida Ghost, all potted up. Now for my, actually this is gonna be last because it's the only one that it's been in soil for a year. Okay, this guy. We're going to pot this guy up into separate pots for the show. So this again is my Philodendron Rio. I'm just gonna take it out of this and see what we're working with. I hear these like to climb, and so people have shared that with me. Like if you want your heartleaf to like grow and to become something larger, just let it climb. But at the same time, I'm like, what? Well, a pothos, like I don't need a pothos to climb to get really large. I don't need the Brazil to climb and get really large. Like the Brazil is just a really pretty plant and grows really well. This guy is super well rooted though, so that could also be my issue. Gosh, he is stuck to the pot. It's well rooted, I would say, but again, not anything major. Like it's really rooted on the bottom, but there was still soil left. However, doesn't change my mind. I'm gonna pot it up and put it up for sale. First, I need to separate the plants because again, there are multiple plants. I thought there were 3, but it looks like there's more than that. There are 3 plants. Like I thought, there were more, but 2 of them have died off. Oh my gosh. Wow. Got one out. Got one out. Okay. Really well rooted. Nice. Ready to pot up. Okay. Another. This is the bigger one. This is like the main mother plant. Really well rooted. And there actually was 6. So 2 again died off. This one, I really think that that's going to die off. It is rooted, and then this one is really well rooted. This one makes me nervous. I don't think I'm going to keep it because it does not look like it has a growth point that can come out of this. So these 3 are definitely getting potted up into 4-inch pots. So that one's done. Then this one right here. So, okay, those will be my Rios that I will have available. And I have other smaller Rios too. They're in 2-inch pots. I did that. Oh, I need to add soil to this big guy here. Now I just don't know where to put it. Okay, we added that. I filled that. Okay, so that's pretty much done except for the soil that I need to get off of that neon. Okay, maybe I'll just do that now. So this neon, how beautiful it is going to go into, I don't know, either this pot or this pot. Kind of put them in this pot. So the roots on it look nice. It's not that, like there's still some soil left over, but again, with the amount of time that I'm having to water it, it's just too much. I'm actually gonna just take off what I can on the soil, not take it all out like of the roots because I just watered it and I don't feel like doing that today. Otherwise, normally I would just break it all off and replace it with only my soil mix, which is soilless. But today we're doing that, which has a lot of hair, so I need to flip it over. Okay, so that's now potted up. Look at the beautiful little terracotta. I mean, such a beautiful plant, really easy to care for, and you can find them quite often in Lowe's and Home Depot. I found this one at Lowe's, and I actually spotted it several times. I went in a couple times and it was just sitting there always. And so finally I was like, I'm going to buy it. And I did. And it's super beautiful and I really love it. So there it is, all fresh. Do I need to look in my greenhouse cabinet, or do I need to first, let me check out these roots that we have going here, or plants that are propagating. Then we'll move to the greenhouse. So I have a few plants propagating here. These are all, I don't know what they are. Some of them are pothos, which some of them are painted ladies. These are pothos. We're just going to stick those back there. So these are all painted ladies. The root system on them is fine. Like, for some reason, these are really hard to root and get rooted. So somebody did make a comment, like, I don't know how long ago, and told me what to do with them, but I don't remember. They just kind of have been sitting there. These are my little, like, baby Epiprimnum albos. They're just going to sit in there. These are my variegated burley marks. It does have 2 new growth points on it. This same one here has 2 new growth points on it. So the plants that I like to bring with me to market are typically your more uncommon or rare plants. I don't have any like super uncommon plants besides the variegated burley marks. I feel like that one is, you just don't find it. But that's pretty much it. That and maybe my Syngonium albo. And I don't know. I have a lot of Gloriosum cuttings, and I feel like I had stuff out. My Esqueletos. Again, those are you can kind of find them in larger forms nowadays. And then I have Thai constellations, which again, a Thai constellation you can kind of find a lot of places now. But those are my more uncommon, rare plants. And then the just regular plants that I bring are typically the ones, again, that you don't see too often in the store. So like I have Manjula pothos. I have a Marble Queen pothos that is like really Marble Queen. It's beautiful. And then I have a Jacininia pothos. I have Enjoy pothos. I have Silver Sword philodendron micans. Just plants, again, that are not, it's not like they're really rare. It's just are not often found. So I don't like to bring completely common plants. So that's why I'm putting the golden pothos back. I'm not really worried about bringing those with me. And then the Epiprimnum albos. I do have a lot of those. Those are, typically I've been seeing them more and more in plant stores. Absolutely, you're not going to find them in, big box stores, but I have been finding them in plant stores. These guys are just really little guys, and I could pop them up, but it's kind of not like appealing. These were just stick cuttings. I don't know. These were wet stick propagations. These were wet stick propagations. Okay, that's why they look so little, because I was like, these aren't stick cuttings. My Epiprimnum albo is massive and pretty large, and these guys are super tiny, but I did take a bunch of runner cuttings. This is when they put off a runner, it has no leaves on them. I just chopped it up and propagated it, and that's what these are, along with the one I already put in the pot. It's just super tiny, so I'll let them grow. Again, I have a few like larger ones available, or 4-inch plants available, but they are really well rooted. I rooted those in perlite and sphagnum moss covered. Then this is a brandy, and I'm sorry, I'm throwing it away because I can't deal with brandy. I don't know if I should pot up these guys. They are well rooted for what it is, and I could just pot it in a 2-inch pot and take them with me. But what I have found is the plants that I'm really into, no one else is. I am really into like the Gloriosums and the Syngonium albo and the burley marks and the variegated Epiprimnum. Like, I'm bringing plants that are rare to me because I'm really into them, and no one seems to care. Very interesting, because you go to these shows and you kind of bring what you're interested in and what you think is going to sell, and then actually is the complete opposite. I have not sold a single Gloriosum. I'm a burley marks variegated, Epiprimnum albo, a Syngonium albo, none of those. And I do not have them priced high, okay? I seriously have them like $15, which is, I bought my my original Syngonium albo for $35. I bought my burley marks variegated original for $35 in a small 1-inch pot. And it was not this big, and it was very minimal. It had 3 leaves on it. So I'm selling these at dirt cheap. Now, I did have a Burley Marks variegated that actually is really variegated, and it's a lot larger, a lot more plant in one, and I was selling it for $35. But the Syngonium albo, I had marked down to $15. No one purchased them. Same for the Gloriosum. Like, again, when I say I do these markets for fun, I really do them for fun, because if you look on the internet, out of most places, and if you go visit most places, those plants are going to be probably $25 to $30, depending on what city you're in and what size pot it is in. But most of them that I've seen in a 4-inch pot run that range, $25 to $30. Burley Marks variegated, you're going to get all over the board. They could be hundreds of dollars. So I have a massive one, and yes, it was $100, but it's massive. Like, when I say massive, it's in a large pot. I got it for $100, and that was a good deal. This is actually, I'll show my original mother plant Burley Marks. So this guy right here is super beautiful, and I really love him. I just repotted him, and I need to water it because it's drooping. But this, I started off as a 3-leaf cutting. And again, I have taken multiple cuttings from this plant and propagated it. So it is a little bit like bare on one side because I cut it, but it has grown so well. And the variegation on this one is just so much better than the variegation on the bigger one I bought. But the bigger one's still beautiful, don't get me wrong. But the variegation is totally different. And I think that makes it really fun. So I bought that, my original Burley Marks from Fitzgerald Tropicals, in Dallas. They do a pop-up. And so purchased that from them in 2022, I believe, or 23 in February. I remember that. I think it was like my son's 1-year birthday. But yeah, so these guys, I think I might pot them up. I'm not really sure. I think I might pot 2 of them up in one pot. That's the other thing with my plants is I pot either 2 to 3, depending on what type of plant it is. So like for the Burley Marks, I'll probably put 2 plants in one, which means like there's 2 separate vines. So it's not just one vine. So you're already going to have the chances of having a more full plant, versus when I purchased mine, they were just one single vine. And that's awesome because they grow really fast and it's a really fun plant. Saying, if you come and check me out sometime, like selling plants, you're going to get a deal, I feel like. Okay, so I need to go to the greenhouse cabinet. I really don't know what to do with these guys. Like, I kind of want to pot them up into soil just to see if they'll grow roots faster, because they've not been growing anything. But I don't know. Should I? Okay, we're going to pop these 2 up together in this little 2-inch pot and see what comes of it. See if it grows roots or not. And, you know, roots form faster, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I should have put it in a 4-inch pot. Maybe it was not enough space. Stick that in there because I'm kind of tired of it being in my vase. So we're going to flip you around and we're going to show you my greenhouse cabinet. I'm going to take some things out, see what I need to maybe pot up and what's not looking so great. Because plants do over time of neglect. Like, I don't look at my greenhouse cabinet pretty much until the week before my shows. And some of them kind of deteriorate in that time. So let's check it out. We're going to keep you at this angle because I feel like it's better light, but I'm not sure. All right, so I do have a few random things in here that I need to take care of, but I'm not going to today, this being one of them. This is a $3, clearance. I almost said avocado. Orchid, but I need to figure that out. Here we go with some of my plants. Ooh, this needs to be watered badly. This is just a Paraiso Verde, but it's just an all green, has no variegation on it. Let me take this off. I originally purchased it for $24. And it was a lot larger than this, let me be clear. But it has since become this little one because I keep chopping it down to try and get that variegation back up. Now, yeah, you can see me a little bit better. It's really dark here. It's nighttime here, obviously. But this is my whole tray. These are all my trays of my different plants. So this is my Syngonium albo, one of them. It looks really pretty. Stick him over there. They all need to be watered, but they all also need to be potted up. So that one is probably not going to get a repot. Honestly, let's check it out. Yeah, it's okay. It does not need a repot. It just has roots coming out. So we're just gonna stick it back up, but thought I would check. Then we have the other Parisa Verdes. It's actually really nice. Like, it just does not have the great variegation because a commenter said that it needs to stay within like 82 degrees Fahrenheit or 28 degrees Celsius in order for the variegation to have this like really nice green variegation that it's known for, but I just don't have that. Ooh, then I have this pretty fuzzy petiole. There's a really beautiful new green leaf and another one on the way and another one here and another one here. So really good. Oh my goodness. Okay, here's another one. People really go for the Mayo Eyes. This is what I think is the #1 seller when I, show up. It's this philodendron Mayo Eye, and it is beautiful, and I can understand why. Because look at that. Look at these little beautiful leaves. It's so beautiful. This one got chopped off long ago. This is the original one from my mother plant that I propagated it off of. And then all of these like came out of it and they look really nice. So this one doesn't need to be done. Nothing needs to be done with it. I just need to move some things around. I really wish someone would come and buy this because look at this massive Parisa Verde. I actually think I'm going to take some of this out because there are multiple plants in one. Again, if it's a typical plant or whatever that I can find, I will pot up probably 3 in one. But this is getting to be a lot versus like this little one right here. So I'm just going to kind of see what's going on here. Take some out if necessary. Oh, wow. That is, yeah, that's really well rooted. Whoa, just knocked that one over. But like, see, I could pot up like maybe one of these with the ones that aren't growing so well. Like at least you have one that's growing really well and then the others are just kind of a filler. We'll see if I can even untangle this mess. And these are all in my soilless soil mix. Several plants in this one. A lady came with the first one and she's like, are all of these plants actually rooted? And I was like, yes, they are all rooted. Proof. Several plants. Okay. This is crazy. So this was one single leaf and it's actually rooted, but there's nothing growing out of it. And I don't know, maybe I guess that is the new leaf that's growing out of that node. Okay, so we'll leave it. I'm not sure. I might just stick that back in water, but these are really well rooted. So we're going to transfer this little guy who is also really well rooted. And we're going to plug him up with like a bigger one that's nice and good, like growing well and looks full. Okay, so this one, now it has like a really big multiple points growth to it. This guy can go with this little one right here that is rooted. And I feel like now we have a better like balance of plants there. There we go. Okay, got that. And then this guy, this I think does have multiple plants in it. So I'm just going to keep him alone. And then this guy I'm going to hold on to because again, this is the newest leaf, but it looks a little sad. So that's the main leaf, but looks sad. So I might just hold on to it, stick it in some water and see what happens. Here's another Mayo Eye. That's really just, look at this, how it grows. It's so funky. That's how my mother plant grows too. It's just really bizarre. Here's another Parisa Verde. So this is the variegation that it started with. And that's what I'm talking about. Like this variegation, if you want it to look like that, it needs to have 82 degrees Fahrenheit in order. So I'm just going to chop that leaf because I broke that leaf last market. I was really disappointed in myself. And obviously it's just gotten worse. So we'll just leave it to this guy here. Another plant that I brought with me, not this one, but a different one, is this philodendron mammii. And no one thought it was beautiful. Apparently no one thinks that, again, the plants that I think are beautiful, they're not to other people, but this big leaf just needs to go. It's just taking up too much space and it's already growing and it's already fully rooted down below. Like look at all those roots with this little plant. So I am just leaving that to be by itself. And I'm actually going to pot it up. These dang Mayo Eyes and Parisa Verdes. Okay, I'm actually going to pot it into 2-inch pots and let it grow. Okay, so I've got stuff off to that side And this does not need to be watered. Kind of go through and just see what needs to be watered, what doesn't. This needs to be watered. So I'll stick what doesn't need to be watered back in now, which I feel like it's not a lot. This does not need to be watered. The other side, I have this little Micans. This little Micans needs to be watered. This Rio looks good. This is one of the small 2-inch Rios that I was talking about. This is the beautiful marble queen that I was talking about. Look how beautiful that is. Love this guy. And new growth. So pretty. Then look how many Gloriosums I have, okay? Look at these guys. I grew them all. They're really tiny. Like, I mean, I didn't grow them all. I had them and I propagated them. But look at them, and I have more. And they're so beautiful. So these guys are all good. They don't need to be watered, but just so beautiful. More glorious. And look at this. This new beautiful leaf unfurling. I can't believe it. It just blows my mind. Oh, another Syngonium albo. Does not need to be watered, but it is growing out the pot. And what do you know? 2 more Gloriosum. Seriously, I just cannot believe it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Gloriosum and haven't sold a single one. And they all need to be watered. Then I have this Jungle Boogie, which I did sell one of these, but this is a little baby one. Okay, so I have a lot of watering to do. I'll show you in a minute. So all of this needs to be watered and then placed back in the greenhouse, just on the top shelf. And then I need to go through all the rest of it. So might come back tomorrow and do that. So now it's time to work my way down, and these ones, as it's pouring outside and the volume, I've tucked my mic off, but this shelf is all good. This shelf is good. Like, I need to check them, but it's plants that I sell. And this bottom shelf is primarily plants that, plants that need a little bit of attention. And so I have them all out right now, but like I have my variegated Monstera aurea here, one of its cuttings, and then I have a few more smaller cuttings down here in pots that don't actually look bad now. Like, these string of turtles have been propagating. Like, that one looks kind of bad, it's pretty bare. And then you've got like this little baby painted lady here, and a Mandula that is the mother leaf, but it's sprouting off new. So I just kind of, that's also a melanochrysum that I've just continuously chopped back, and it's just sad single little thing, but that's kind of what I do, like how I set it up. Everything that's good to go is usually on the top rack, and then the very bottom is the needs attention. So it's day 2 and a new day. What am I even doing? I don't even remember where I left off at, to be fairly honest with you. I do believe that I got through the top shelf of all of my plants. Now I need to go through this shelf. I did do a video, I know, on my bottom shelf. I had plants missing, and so I had placed all of those back. Those were kind of my plants that I'm just rehabbing. Not really rehabbing, they just don't look pretty. And so it's a lot of plants that I'm like propagating, taking like cuttings of, and that is where I'm getting the other plants that I actually sell. And so I need to go through this shelf. The lighting's awful because we have just been in constant storms. So let's go turn on the light and see if I can make it any better than this. Well, that's a little bit better. And now the roofing guys are here. As I stated, this is, you know, what I do. So all of the plants that I sell are kept in this greenhouse cabinet. And then my propagation vessels, like you can see one right here, they're kind of kept everywhere I can find space for. But this guy, this is a Mandula. He looks really good and is just growing. These are super easy to care for pothos and a beautiful variegation. They are a little bit harder to come by, and it's why I propagate mine. So he needs to be watered, and my table is entirely too full up here. Not even going to show that to you right now, but I definitely need to water a lot of these plants. This guy is like dying off, which that's unfortunate. They're like right there at the window. Is it awkward to close the window? Gosh, and then this is my Philodendron Jopii. I had taken cutting of it, and so it's pushing out a new leaf right there. And it's had 3 old leaves. The one you just saw me pull off. This is the last 2 remaining ones, and they look like awful. I don't know if this one had, like, it had, hold on. So, okay, I'm not selling this one, but I just kept it in there as a propagation, and I think I'm going to take the soil off of it. I don't know if it got thrips or what happened, but it had mealybugs at first, so I'm not sure if there's damage. And I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera. There's damage all along those two leaves. And again, they're the oldest leaves, and it did have mealybugs. And so I'm not sure if that's damage from that or if it's got them again. I don't see anything. I have treated my cabinet. I spray it down with Jackstead Bug Brew, pretty much like before I take my plants and then after, just bringing them inside from being outside. But I don't know. It's just a weird plant, the Joe Pi. I had a bigger version of it and it did well. Like it was fine. I propagated it, but this little guy, he's trying to make a comeback. So we'll let him keep growing. This is super fun. My Soderoy philodendron, I chopped it all back months ago. Honestly, a very long time ago, probably a year. And this is what's growing from it. It's so full and bushy. It's hilarious. I am going to continue to wait on it. These are a bit of a finicky philodendron, I would say. It's more like a brandy philodendron, where I don't prefer a brandy because they are temperamental. They do need a lot of humidity and just right watering. But I keep this one at the very back of my greenhouse and it does very well. And it will just continue to stay there. I hope that maybe by the fall it will be a little bit more mature to actually split and, you know, pot up. But it sits back there for now. Was growing. My gosh, this Mandula is growing very well. Look at that. Like that would be really beautiful. It's got a lot of aerial roots on it. It's ready for a moss pole. As I dump all of the rest of them, almost. But this guy, he is probably, I actually feel like I'm just going to chop him up. And maybe, I don't know. I didn't have a price tag on it, so I think this was one of the ones. I keep like a couple to chop and prop. I don't remember if this is one of them or not. It looks like it, seeming there's a leaf right there, but yeah, maybe I'll bring it with me. It really is ready to climb, like would be perfect for a moss pole. But right now it's just falling over. And then this is a lot of, you've got marble pothos right here, which I think that these are really beautiful. Like this one's a really pretty variegation. It's just super white. Then I have some Epiprimnum albos. I have an Enjoy here. I have a Jacinia, and I have another Scindapsus. I had a lot of Scindapsus. I just ended up cutting my Scindapsus mother plants up and just chopping them. This is another Mammii that I have. I need to chop this leaf. It has a new leaf growing, but I'll leave it on there. And then this leaf needs to go away. This is a Mammii. I had a couple different Mammii. So one, I have a mature Mammii. And then I got a small little Mammii that honestly looked quite like this. And I think that this is one of them. And yeah, I just kind of stuck it in here. I don't have a price tag on this one either. So I think that this was one of my chop and prop mother plants. I do that obviously a lot. But this plant looks good. It's just got a brown leaf here, or half of a leaf going on here, so I might chop that back. This is kind of what I do to get ready for the shows. I just look through the plants. I trim off any dead or ugly leaves that I might see, and then just water them, I guess. I mean, that's really it. I don't know why this one was a weird plant. This one has it's like rooted in. It's super interesting. That beautiful. Okay, I am going to chop this leaf off. It's old, it's dying off. No point in saving it at this point. It has a new growth point. We're just going to let it grow. Again, I don't have a price tag on it. I don't bring them with me, but I will leave it there. This Epiprimnum really needs to be watered. It has a new growth point down here while it's still growing and pushing out new leaves at the top, which is good. This Scindapsus looks a little sad. I had a struggle with one of my Scindapsus. I don't know what it was. but it just wanted to be watered more than the rest of them, which is kind of interesting. I think this one was it. So I probably won't be bringing this one with me because something's going on with it. Then this one is the Jacinia pothos. I can never tell, like this is the actual variegation of it, but this one is dying off. They both are dying off, but it's kind of hard to tell, again, because honestly the Jacinia looks a little sickly, if that makes any sense. It is yellow, like it has a yellow variegation. Now this leaf right here, there's no reason for that one. That one's actually the bottom leaf, so I just chop it off. But this variegation is very pretty. I accidentally chopped 2 leaves off. Ugh. Okay, it's okay. This variegation is very pretty. Look at that. It is a yellowy, like chartreuse green with the dark splashes. So it again looks a little sickly, but it's the variegation of it. It's very interesting. I like it. I have a bigger mother plant of it. Like this guy right here is a really pretty leaf. Just an interesting pothos. I think I have like 2 of those. I'm not sure. Really? This thing, I don't know. These leaves, this mamei does not grow well. You get some that grow really well, and then there's some that just don't. And this is one of those. So I don't know. Look at this. It's just a little wild. Very immature. I have another ring of fire, another variegated anthurium. I almost said that. Syngonium. I've got Manjula. I've got silver swords over here. And I have a husband who thinks he's filming my video, but he's on the outside, so yeah. That was really it for today. I'm doing this in steps. So basically, yesterday I looked at everything, potted up. Today I watered. I also last night did one of my punch needle orders, and I need to do more for the show. So this is like one of them. This is the Enjoy Pothos. I don't know. Enjoy Pothos punch needle. I think that's really it until packing time. Then I got to pack all of this stuff up, price everything. So I price everything typically the day before. I just Google prices for the plants and stuff, and then adjust. So I will bring you along for that, but that's all for day 2. Here we are on day 3, and it's time to price everything. I just go through Google and find the prices of the plants online or what they're going for, and then I price down significantly. I actually priced a lot of things down because I did a huge sale trying to just clear out a lot of my greenhouse. Okay, so it's the morning of the sale, and we have everything ready to go. Didn't finish showing you, but all these boxes, good. This is my 4th market, and I feel like I have a pretty good plan of what to do and what's needed now. So I use a suitcase, and that is really helpful to carry all of your small items, your bags, your price tags, your pins, whatever might be needed. And then I created this folding little stand that fits perfectly into my vehicle, folds all the way down, that way it saves on space, and it has 2 shelving areas in it so that I can place my bags and my card reader and all of my little knickknacks. Now the fun thing about dealing with outside markets is the wind. So already the wind took out one of my little walls. I usually have 2 up, but unfortunately it broke upon arrival. So we just have 1 today. I use that to hang all of my keychains on, my prisms that I use for sun catchers, whatever you want to call them. And then I do have a few t-shirts that I sell, and I just use this IKEA rack that I found for like $10, and it's been really helpful because then I also use it to display some of my plants. So this is the end result. It was a little bit different setup this month because I got moved to a new spot, but it still looks great. We had a lot of people come through, a lot of plants cleared out, and it was just an overall really good sale. So I hope to do this again either next spring or maybe this fall if they have it. If you're in the area, make sure you check it out. Make sure to subscribe, and we will see you next time.